Boom. All right. I think we're live. I think you can hear me. I'm Doug Cunnington. This is, I guess, the Doug Show Live, the Doug Cunnington channel. We're going to talk about specific tips directly from Amazon. So there's a section over on the Amazon Associates website, and there's a lot of helpful information. We'll look at it. We're actually going to evaluate some of it. Let me know if you can hear me. There's a chance that you cannot. I am looking here. And if you're in the chat, let me know if you could hear me. I am trying to verify based on listening here. Okay, it seems like I can verify that my sound is working, but let me know in the chat. It's always good to get verification from the real life people that are out there. Georgie is here with me today. That is her wheezing. I have the Georgie cam set up. Georgie, you're all right, girl. Are you all right? Everything's fine. Everything's fine, girl. Don't worry, she's okay. What are you doing? You all right? All right, Georgie is joining me down here. Hopefully, she won't make too much noise, but she is here, and she does like to get attention occasionally. So, like I said, there is a section over at the on the Amazon Associates website, and we're going to take a look at those things. We have Stuart on, we have Babane or Badane is on, and says thanks for the efforts, much appreciated. Thanks everyone for hopping on. Amazon Finds was here early, as is Gadget Mania. All right, so thanks folks for hopping on. And Alnus says that you can hear me too. So I just had the wrong sort of sound configuration set up. So we're going to go through a couple of those things. I will give a quick shout out to a sponsor, that is Ezoic, and you can check out their product Leap, which will help your site score green for the Core Web Vitals. There's a link in the description. And the cool thing with Leap is it's free to use if you're monetizing with Ezoic. The good part is you can monetize with Ezoic with no page view minimum. So there's a link in the description to help you get started with that. And I do thank Ezoic for sponsoring these live sessions and my podcast, which leads me to another thing that I could plug here. I have two podcasts. One's called The Doug Show. I talk about affiliate marketing and SEO. And then the other one is Mile High Fi, where I talk about personal finance. And I have a co-host named Carl Jensen, who's well known in the financial independence community. It's a pretty fun show. We really enjoy doing it. We actually shoot it right back there. I did change up a couple things because I like to stand up when I'm doing a live session or even recording an interview or recording a podcast or anything. I feel like I have a little more energy if I stand up. But if I'm standing up, the camera doesn't get the guitars behind me. And I have these guitars sitting around, and I was like, I have tables back there where Carl and I usually sit to record a podcast. And I thought I'll just put the guitars up there so people can see them. And I can see them in the background as I'm watching the video as well. If you do have questions, feel free to throw them into the chat. If I'm talking about something else, I may skip it for the time being and come back to it later. And usually there's a strong chance I have answered that question that you're asking, or one that's very similar, in the FAQ section for Niche Site Project. There's a link in the chat so that you could check that out. I believe there's one in the show notes too. So you can just scroll down, go to nichesiteproject.com/FAQ, have a look over there. I've answered, I think there must be 30 questions or so, very common. So you could have a look over there. I know if you want to get like specific feedback, you could ask here, of course, but I've answered many of them many times already. And I think we could just hop into it. So I'm going to share my screen here. Boom. And we see that I've scrolled way down, but there's a section here called the Resource Center. And if you're signed up for the Amazon affiliate program, they occasionally send you quote, you know, helpful emails. And Georgie, poor thing, is wheezing a little bit. Georgie, what are you doing? I brought you down here to hang out. You gotta be a good dog. So they send out these helpful emails, and sometimes, it makes you think like, who wrote these articles and stuff. And we're going to take a look at a few of them. There are some good ideas in here, so I won't make too much fun. I'll make a little fun as we go through, but there is this resource center. So, Amazon does give us some tips on what to do. Now, one of the reasons why you're watching this YouTube channel and other channels that are similar is because, number one, they don't do a good job like letting us know about this resource center. And then maybe the worst part is some of the tips are really not that great. I'm not even sure like if some of them are very useful, and some of them actually have like dead links in here, right? So I'll show you one of those. So I'm scrolling down, and they do have some getting started and learning about the products and that sort of thing. There's some videos actually hosted on YouTube, so some of these might be helpful. But as we scroll down, there's like this one right here, 2019 holiday countdown calendar for influencers. So it's like 2 years old. And the thing is, if I were to click on it and try and open it up, it's like it's a dead page. And it was like on the top of this blog section. So again, like when you just hop over here, you're like, oh, wow, there's a lot of information. They have some filtering mechanisms here. And you can see like the beginner and advanced, and you click on one, which obviously based on the title is, it's older. It doesn't mean the information is irrelevant, but it just means they haven't touched it and there's like old shit in their blog, basically. And Thane's on just saying hello. So what's going on? Thanks for hopping in. Appreciate that. And it's just a dead link, and it shows that they're not paying too much attention, which is why, like I said, you may watch YouTube videos to get better information that's more relevant and it's more up to date. Or you may go to a blog like I was chatting with Jesse Lakes over at Genius Link yesterday. So they have a great blog, tons of information there. So let's look at a couple of the potentially useful things. Now, they do allow you to filter. So I deselected videos and tutorials and influencers, and kept the rest because some of those are relevant. So there are some interesting topics like a guide to better backlinks, and I've opened up, you might be able to see many tabs back here so that they're already open and we can just go straight to those. But a guide to better backlinks, we have how to set up A/B testing, and I may actually try to zoom in just a little bit because not only is some of their blog information out of date, their font size is pretty small. It's pretty small even for me looking at this, so I know it's even smaller for you. They also have using social media to find new readers, introducing new native shopping ad reports. They have looking at and understanding key metrics, learning about Amazon bounties. And one of the things that I want you to get out of this, hopefully, a few tips perhaps rolling into the holidays here. So as I'm scrolling down more, we have Early Bird's Guide to Black Friday and Cyber Monday for associates. That's one of the articles we'll look at. And A/B testing. There's a lot of content here. Again, some of it could be a little out of date, but like most things, if you peel it back and you look at the ideas behind it, it's not going to be completely irrelevant. Some of the specifics may have changed a little bit, but it's still a little bit useful if you dig down and look at the specifics of actually like getting more traffic or improving rankings or improving your conversion rate or maybe monetizing with international traffic. So some of it is, potentially basic and things that you already know, depending on the level that you're at right now, or some things, may be new to you and you may think, oh yeah, international traffic, I get, 30% from international traffic, I should make sure I monetize with that. And another one, tips for building a brand new site, technical requirements for having your own blog, and so on. And you can keep loading more and more. There's a lot of them, right? So there's a 10 ways to improve your SEO, something, Instagram stories. Okay, let's start looking at these that I've pre-selected for us. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So here's the one that is out of date, and you will run into that occasionally. As we look at the next one, this one is the guide to get better backlinks. So, I mean, they are, they're honing in to topics that, we care about. So we'll look at sort of the, just really quickly, we're going to scroll down. So they do actually have, a fairly lengthy post here. But again, when you look at this and just like knowing, when I evaluate a blog and I look at it, the font size is really small. And just from a readability standpoint, this is more like reading a textbook or maybe like the Google documentation that they provide for YouTube or Gmail or Google Docs or whatever. It's kind of, it leaves a lot to be desired. So just from a readability standpoint, like this isn't great. Like, I mean, we can zoom in, we can make the font larger, but it's kind of like how people design blogs, 10 years ago. And then just one quick thing, I didn't read this whole thing, but as I'm looking, like this word is misspelled. So in an instance is misspelled. So again, from just like a blogging standpoint, it's not the best information, even though this is a topic that we care about. So as I scroll down, this is actually one of the longer ones in general. And I see Georgie's trying to run away here. So, hey, Georgie. Come here, girl. So funny thing, if you watch these live streams occasionally, you know that sometimes we go on tangents. So this is one of those real quick. My wife's always saying like, hey, bring Georgie down, but we don't want her to go up and down the stairs too much. Wears out a dog's legs. And it gives him arthritis and stuff like that from overuse and going up and down the stairs. And she was down here for 10 minutes, made noise generally, and then she was like trying to run. Now she's trying to lick my hand. She knows I'm talking bad about her. So anyway, it's kind of a good idea not to have her down here, which is why she hasn't generally been down here, even though I like to have her around. I just can't stop the live stream to go let her upstairs or whatever. So, okay, back on topic here. This is a long post, and there's actually some good information here from just like a general standpoint. Now, when we go back up to the top, and I'm not going to read the whole thing here, there's a link in the description so you can actually go take a look at some of these on your own if you want to go deeper. But what I will talk about a little bit is, and I see I'm a little too zoomed in here, but I want to go over here so we could see this what you'll learn section in a font size that you could actually read. So they do tell us, and again, this is, probably fairly basic, but they tell you what a backlink is, why it matters, how to recognize a quality backlink, and strategies that you can use to develop backlinks. And they will cover, what backlinks are. Again, there's a misspelling right there. So, it kind of makes you wonder who wrote this. Amazon, I would say, probably has a pretty decent budget to hire someone who could proofread this. I mean, it's kind of laughable that they have multiple spelling mistakes that are easily identifiable by like Google Docs. If they use Word, I mean, there's so many ways for them to just find like a straight up misspelled word. So they talk about what backlinks are, securing backlinks, the easiest way to build them, and what mistakes you should avoid so you're not penalized by Google. So again, we're not going to read the whole thing, but we will sort of look at a couple sections here. I'll zoom back out since they have this sort of ultra wide situation for their blog content. And so they're talking about a quality backlink and how to identify it. If you get too many backlinks from irrelevant content, Google may see it as an indication of an unnatural backlink profile. Okay, that sounds fine. They talk about a do follow and a no follow link. That's good information. And they have a checklist for high quality backlinks. So the website has user content and has user comments and current content, links that are relevant to the topic, do follow links, naturally out of the content, visibility index is rising, the domain age is over a year, and no loss of visibility within a few weeks. So low quality backlinks, basically the inverse or the converse of everything there. So not super helpful. Oh, we see Gaz is on. What's up? Say you're a little late, or yeah, it's a little late in the UK and you just finished Alex stream. All right, cool. Thanks for hopping in. And as we scroll down, we have strategies for developing high quality backlinks. So they talk about having high quality content, varying the posts. So there's some informational, conversational type posts, maybe some that are product reviews or comparisons, news. So they're just saying have different kinds of content. They say don't copy content from the competition, write unique posts, disregard minimum length for the content. And okay, so they have some reasonable things. So they talk about guest posting and leaving blog comments. They say provide a free download, web directories, interviews, contacting the manufacturers, and a link exchange. Okay, so here's one we could hone on. The rest of them seem, okay. One that I really like is contacting the manufacturer. So that could be a great relationship to build. So let's read this one specifically, since I think maybe this is a bad one. Another way to secure backlinks is via a link exchange in which you agree with another website operator to exchange a link. To avoid being penalized by search engines, you should never exchange links directly because it can result in unnatural link exchange. For example, website A should link to your website B, and in return, you should link back to website A indirectly from your thematically appropriate second or third website. By using this method, no direct link exchange has been established. A link exchange is a good way to secure a backlink, especially if you have more than one relevant website. So basically they are saying, hey, trade links with people, but have 3 or 4 websites in play so that you have no direct ties to the website. So it's harder to prove. So that's technically okay. Like they said, it sort of goes under the radar, but from the spirit of what Google is trying to do, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right or anything like that, but Google, if you went to Google and said, hey, if we trade links like this, is that okay? They would tell you no. So, all right. Next, private links. So are there people in your circle of friends that have their own websites, and maybe you can just get a link there? Question portals, so like Quora, and I guess Reddit would potentially work. And then last, they say self-linking. So if you habitually create many links to other relevant websites on your own website to give your readers with information on a topic, you'll get many links in return, as the owners will link to you as they become aware of you. So that's an interesting take on it. All right, Bradbury's on. What's going on? Hello. It looks like a few people hopped over from Alex's stream. And, funny thing, I did try to, in general, I've tried to schedule. Well, I moved days. I used to do these on Wednesdays. Decided to move them on Tuesdays. It worked out a little better for my schedule. And Alex does his on Tuesdays, which I also thought that could be good in a general sense. However, Alex sometimes moves the time of his. So sometimes it's like a little bit overlapping and that sort of thing. And I try to, move the time for this one for later in the day, which it just happened to work out better. But yep, it's been a little bit of a struggle to not like um, schedule it exactly at the same time. And scheduling it near the same time is kind of nice, although it does seem like since it is so late in the UK, some people don't want to hang around, and Alex has a lot of folks in the UK, of course. And just a quick note for the people that just joined in, we do have the Georgie cam enabled, and she's just resting there. She was coughing a little bit earlier, but she just sort of lost her breath. She hyperventilates occasionally because she's licking herself so hard. Yeah, she knows I'm talking about her, and that is her, I think, vulture toy there. And the little foam stuff next to her, that's also a toy that she plays with, even though it's just trash that she picked up, but she loves that toy. It's good to have the Georgie cam back in place. I need a graphic for that, just because, I think a lot of people do like the Georgie cam in general. Okay. So the one we just looked at is, basically Amazon's tips on link building, which overall I would say it was like fairly pedestrian. So if you kind of already know what backlinks are and kind of have an idea for getting backlinks, then it's like not super helpful. If you were brand new and you just learned about, maybe you just started blogging, maybe you just joined the Amazon program and you just learned about it, you don't know much, this would be an okay intro. Some of the techniques are, honestly, it's kind of funny. They're like, hey, maybe you could do a 3-way link exchange so that you don't get caught. So it's a little bit amusing at the same time. I'm like, you know what? It's not like Amazon and Google are like checking with each other on content and all that stuff. All right. Yes. Yeah. I knew Georgie was popular. Gaz mentions Georgie, Merck, and Dan as well. So yeah, she wore herself out. So let's keep plowing through. If you are just joining, there's a link in the show notes there so that you can look at the resources section and kind of browse around. I mean, you might find something useful. And I would say, like, best case scenario, you have a look at the overall resource center and you might get a tip here or there that is useful. And Ariel is on. You say you're late and you'll have to catch up later. Sounds good. Thanks for hopping on, of course. So here's one we're going to look at that is topical. So it is Black Friday related. So Early Bird's Guide to Black Friday and Cyber Monday for Associates. Now, the last post that we looked at, it was very thorough. There was a lot of information. And I am realizing I'm probably going to lose my voice if I keep talking so loud. So I'm going to move a little bit closer and not talk as loud. It'll be more like an NPR program. And hopefully it'll be less like what is it? Is it ASMR? Less like an ASMR, or is it AMSR? Someone let me know. So hopefully it'll be less like that and more like me just talking more quietly. So here's the deal with this post. Is this information even helpful? It's like 8 sentences or so. So the Early Bird's Guide to Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So I could read the whole thing right now. They say launch a landing page. So one-stop shopping experience and launch it as early as possible. And you could send links to your landing page throughout your blog to drum up more referral traffic. And you can check out some tips for building out a hub page. So they do link you to other things that are helpful, which we'll take a look at in a second. The other part is to post content to build anticipation with the audience. So in-depth reviews should be part of the Black Friday weekend plan. Long-form product reviews, case studies, and features about products provide your readers with valuable, informative content to make confident shopping decisions. So we could also open up the long form product review to take a look. So engage live on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So you could do it in real time. They don't tell you what to do. So they kind of, I mean, maybe that's posting directly, or you potentially can go live like on YouTube like this, or you can go live on a specific social media platform as well. Make your site mobile friendly. So I would say potentially like of these 4 bullet points, which hardly, in my opinion, make a complete guide. For these 4 bullet points, I would say maybe the first 2 are pretty good. The third is relevant if you do have, a way to actually go live. Continually posting, I have to be honest, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference unless you have sort of a more of a platform than just a website where people go to via search. So if you're just getting search traffic, I'm not sure posting live is going to make a difference. But if you go live on Instagram or something like that, and you're like, oh, I just bought this product, it's really awesome, maybe that would work okay. Or if you are on, like, say, Twitch or YouTube, you potentially could go live for hours and like look at the deals over there and post links live and all that kind of stuff. Like that potentially could work. So we will look at some of the links that they had. I do see a couple questions that popped in, so I will hop over and answer a couple of those questions. Gaz says, I'm in absolutely no rush with my site and have made a decision to do the backlink thing organically. So Gaz, does that mean that you will not do any link building, or are you open to maybe networking within your niche so that you make those contacts and such? Hey, George, you got to come back. Come here, Georgie. All right, now she's trying to go upstairs, so. Okay, my wife just let her upstairs, but she left her turkey down here, and we could actually check how sad it is on the Georgie cam here. She was all set up down there, and now Georgie's just gone. She went upstairs. She didn't want to hang out with us. So sad. Okay, so back on track. Let me answer some questions. Hussein says, can we get our first sale from review providers? If yes, where can we find leads? I have no idea what you're talking about. Review providers. I don't know what you mean. So if you could rephrase it, or if someone knows, let me go ahead and retype it in there. Dancer says, what plugin are you currently using to manage all your affiliate links? So it's a three-part answer here. So I've tested Lasso. So that's one. It's too expensive, in my opinion, for what it does, like overall, unless you have like a specific reason to use Lasso. I use Amalinks Pro on one site. And the thing is, I'm answering what I use, and I've tested several products. So Lasso does have a nice interface. The feature boxes look nice typically, but it essentially, like I said, if you're brand new, it's a little bit expensive to use. So if you're not earning enough to pay for it, then don't use it basically. And there's some other things related to that, but the feature boxes look really nice. Amalinks Pro is very good, a little bit cheaper, especially if you have more than one website, or you think you might have more than one website in the future. And they have generally just a cheaper way to pay for it. And at the time that I'm recording this, I don't know the specific prices, but for example, Amalinks Pro, which I'm an affiliate for. I'm an affiliate for Lasso too, but Amalinks Pro, like they will have a Black Friday sale. I don't know if I have a link in my description or anything, but they will have a Black Friday sale and you can get it for, a huge, massive discount. The other thing that I use is Genius Link. So in general, if I'm giving a sort of blanket recommendation, Genius Link will help you monetize on international associates programs, and it's very useful for like YouTube videos and linking as well. There's actually a lot of users for YouTube, a lot of users of Genius Link on YouTube. Additionally, Genius Link will help you go to multiple different affiliate programs. So that's extremely helpful too, especially if you have those available, they integrate with a lot of other programs. So that's pretty nice. And I'm trying to think. The other thing is, in general, I tell people don't use a plugin until there's like a specific reason for you to use a plugin. You can actually just use the site stripe and you can create links using a specific format. So I like to keep things simple. I don't like to use plugins. Dan's saying that you've tested many plugins since you've been following, which is true. And the thing is, I hate testing products, basically, because all of them promise the world, and they maybe they work a little bit, but they almost never deliver what they're talking about. So, you see the case studies, and I won't call out a specific company because they all do it, but you'll find like the bullshit headlines that just say, hey, I changed this plugin and now my earnings went up by 50%. And it's just that specific case study. And if you're thinking, oh, if I put that plugin in, these buttons and this little box around here is all of a sudden going to change my conversion rate by 50%, is kind of bullshit. And unfortunately, they're trying to get some eyes on their blog posts, and they want to get links to those, and they want to be interviewed for those topics. And you can find isolated incidents where it's exceptional, but that is not the rule. So anyway, the simple question, what plugin do you currently use to manage all of my affiliate links? I'm using several because I want to sort of test those products out. Generally, I don't like to use the plugins. It is helpful for the feature boxes, and in that case, both Amalinks Pro and Lasso will do the job. All right. Dan's on too. What's going on? A couple more questions before we move on to some more of these blogs from Amazon. So what we're doing right here is we're looking at specific tips that Amazon is telling us as associates. Let's be techie. What's happening? I got to remember not to talk as loud. I'm going to lose my voice. I feel it. And Hafiz says, if AdSense has not approved our website, what's an alternative? Gaz is right. Ezoic is a sponsor of this, and I am an affiliate for them. So I wanted to zoom out a little bit. So Ezoic is probably your best bet. And there's a link in the description. Again, they are a sponsor, and I love Ezoic, but they're a really good alternative for AdSense. And one of my friends, he actually had a lot of issues with invalid clicks on AdSense, and Google was not paying him. So he went to Ezoic, worked with them, optimized, and he's earning, well, you know what? I don't remember exactly how much, but it was comparable. I'll say it's comparable or better. I can't quite remember. It does depend on the niche in general, but it's worked out well for him. And the other part is, so it's not approved. So AdSense is not approved. I think it is important that you actually, I think Ezoic uses the Google Ad Network. So I think you actually need to be accepted there, but they potentially can work with you on that. I should have recorded a commercial clip so I could run a clip. I did not. So unfortunately, I just have to talk through this. All right. So Growth Scouter says, do I run any sites currently? Yes, I run a few sites. I'm not one of those people that wants to have like a huge portfolio or anything like that. I value simplicity, and every site has a certain amount of overhead that you have to deal with. And, you know, like Gaz, I didn't mention, Gaz says, the whole backlink thing worries me slightly that it opens the door for Google to penalize you with an update. I should reach out, really. Yeah, so reaching out is cool. And guys, I don't know if you listen to my podcast. Are you familiar with Christy, who basically has doubled her revenue, or very close to double her revenue in 2021? So she's earning like $6,300 per month or so over the last 8 months on average or so. She just texted me a little while ago, I think. Yeah, roughly like that amount. And the thing is, she's done a very good job networking in a very natural way within her niche, like building relationships. And it's very much the long game. So you mentioned you're not in a hurry. And basically, Christy like built these relationships like a year ago, 18 months ago, sometimes longer. And she's been able to like partner in various ways, get backlinks without asking, and then be introduced to other partners who may actually be the like good affiliate partners overall. So it's been like pretty, I mean, it's essentially what I've done with like Niche Site Project and the other things that I've worked on, where if you just like stick around and you link to people and you meet people, basically the idea is you just build the relationships, and over time they will pay off. It may be years ahead though. Okay, so one more. All right, we are getting lots of questions in, which is good. And I see Dan has a great question here. But I do need to give a shout out to another one of the sponsors. So quick note for ODYS, and that is ODYS over here, ODYS Global. And that is a place you can get age domains with strong branding. The idea behind the age domains is that you can basically start a website on a domain that already has a lot of backlinks. Usually they're very relevant to the well-branded site. And the key thing is you do need it to be in your niche or a very closely related niche. So that is the key. If you already have an existing site, you actually can pick up one of these domains and then redirect it over to your existing domain, or vice versa. Both are small technical problems to solve that you can go through a specific process that's fairly straightforward. So what we can do is just like have a quick look at some of the domains that are over here. And they do have like cool like filtering mechanisms over here. So I did not find one ahead of time, but I'll click on English. So we'll filter out all the ones that are not in English. I'll say I want a .com, even though I'm narrowing it down. And then I could say I want it to be in the maybe gardening niche. Cool. So it'll filter it down, and we have 4 in here now. And you'll notice there are various prices. So Soul of the Garden, Nature's Garden Express, Rain Saucers, and Hot Pepper Wax. So again, varying prices, and you could just click and see which one might be good. So this one's the most expensive at $3,700, but Soul of the Garden sounds pretty good. So if you had something in the gardening or backyard or outdoor niche, this could work out. It is 22 years old, and kind of that's pretty old. You can have a look over at the Wayback Machine to get an idea what it looked like in the past. You also can see in this little grid here where some of those links are. And for any of these, I definitely encourage you to check them out on like Ahrefs and stuff like that. But they have reason.com, they have TuneIn, they have a link from, what are some others? Thrillist, TexasHillCountry.com, and several others. It's actually hard for me to read this. It looks like the font's a little bit off right now, but as we scroll down, the big thing is the site was created in 1999. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it actually does get a little bit of organic traffic, which is kind of amazing. So these are the kind of domains that you could get over at ODYS. If you join using my affiliate link, I really appreciate it. You can get $100 in your account. So it's actually, win-win. Okay. Let's answer some questions, and maybe we'll have some time to go back and look at a few other details from Amazon and the tips that they give you. If you were just hopping in, Amazon has a whole resource center for the associates, and sometimes it's not the best content, but you might be able to learn a thing or two here or there, or stumble upon some information that you didn't know before. Okay. So Dan says this: sharing is caring, Doug. Want to share one of your sites with us so we can see how the master executes. So I won't rant on this too long, because I see people already hate this video. Somehow we have more dislikes than other videos where I'm a total asshole, which is hilarious to me. So even if you dislike the video, that's still good. That's great. You interacted with the video. So thank you for disliking it too. All right. So the big problem with this, Dan, is people will hit it with negative SEO. I know other people share their sites and stuff, but for some reason I'm particularly abrasive or something like that. And I've lost, tens of thousands of dollars from people finding my sites and then doing bad stuff to them. I chatted with someone, one of my new friends. I don't know him too well, but someone sold a site for $6 million. So it's a couple years ago, but I interviewed him. The show's coming out pretty soon, and his site got hit with negative SEO. It was a competitor. So, people can be all right. And I know like Spencer Hawes at Niche Pursuits. We have Alex Cooper. Of course, he's sharing a ton of stuff over at WP Eagle. And a lot of people do share their sites because their business model works okay, even if their site doesn't earn that much money. They're typically selling either their own products or affiliate stuff. I earn money from affiliate sites. So I don't want to share my sites because they are part of my livelihood. So if someone goes and messes with them or copies them directly, copies all the keywords, for example, it kind of sucks. So I have unfortunately experienced that multiple times. And again, I'm not 100% sure why, because I mean, you say sharing is caring. And I would say, Dan, uh, I've shared a ton of information on YouTube for free and on my blog. So I have put out a lot of information. Now, again, with the other people that are sharing, I believe, they've built really good followings, and people can see exactly what they're doing. And I would point you towards those examples, Alex and other folks that are doing public case studies. Like usually they're doing an awesome job, and you could see what those masters are doing. So I could go on and on and on that, but I could tell you the day that I saw that my site was penalized from negative SEO, I was like, oh no. And it took me a month to recover it, and it kind of sucked. So that's why I don't share my sites. Let's Be Techie says, what if I have a limited budget for link building? If I have 10 articles and can invest in 3, how can I determine which articles are worth investing in? It will depend for every single site, every single keyword, every single niche. So in a general sense, I would probably look at the ones that have the keywords that have the lowest competition and the highest likelihood for you to rank. I would aim for those. And Brian, what's going on? Good to see you, buddy. And and I keep getting more dislikes. So it's one of those things where, like, technically I'm not supposed to acknowledge it, right? Because that'll encourage more people to hop over here. But maybe they're all in a chat room somewhere and they're like, hey, go to Doug's live stream and dislike it. I even set up the Georgie cam, and it's so sad. Actually, let's do this. Let's do this too. We'll have the empty Georgie cam. This is just like a sad pity situation here. We have an empty Georgie cam. I'm getting more and more dislikes. There's some sort of a weird vulture thing. Okay. Let's keep answering questions since so many are coming in. Dan says, Amazon took away my API because of low sales. I quit the program. Do you think if I reapply, now that I have 5 times the traffic and I know I'd get sales, do you think I can get the API back? I don't know. What is the constraint and what are the limits? And I would, just generally, I would have to say maybe, because I don't know what 5x the traffic was, and I don't know what you were doing before. So it's like 5x of an unknown doesn't tell me that much. 5x sounds, it's more. It is a lot more, but I don't know relatively. So I would look at, find out the constraints. Like I don't remember what they are. You have to make X number of sales versus like the amount of like bandwidth that you're using or something like that. So you should be able to check it. Okay. Gaz says, okay. And Gaz is a trooper staying up late, and I appreciate it. I'm behind in the chat, so it could be gone. All right. You'll probably benefit more from using the money to outsource for more content after some keyword research with only 10 articles. I agree with that. I agree with that too. And Gaz is coming up and defending me and said, why would someone hit the dislike button? I have to imagine maybe they have fat fingers and they were unable to click it properly. And Dan says, Google handles negative SEO better nowadays. That is true. I wouldn't worry about it, but you understand my take. And I wouldn't worry about it. So the one thing that I haven't mentioned out here, and I don't well, it's just the core people and the assholes that dislike the video. But in my course, I actually share a site that I'm working on, and I share exactly what I'm doing. I show when I started it off, and it's out there, but it's inside the course, so it's actually just the people that work with me directly. So that's the one thing, like, people have said, hey, you should do a public case study and all that stuff. And I'm in sort of an interesting position where I'm doing some different work, right? So I mentioned the Mile High 5 podcast. So I still have my foot in the affiliate marketing space, and I, have that site that I just mentioned and a couple others as well. But I'm much more interested in personal finance and looking at podcasting and financial independence, and kind of bringing the two worlds together a little bit. And I interviewed Spencer Hawes. It's been a while at this point. It could be about a year by now. But I asked him about, starting the new sites, and I think his site is Own the Yard, and essentially just like continuing to do the case studies and that sort of thing, and like how he keeps the drive. And he just likes it. He just likes doing the keyword research and outsourcing the content and doing, maybe some of the writing and some of the, other details, right? There's certain things he may really enjoy doing. So he just loves it. And I am, like I mentioned, that negative SEO experience. Like there were a couple of things that happened where I was like, you know what, sharing a website and doing a public case study is probably not the best use of my time, and it's not as enjoyable as some other things that I can do. So I still enjoy, keyword research, and I still enjoy the overall situation. However, it is, from doing a public case study, it doesn't fit with the way that I can sustainably run a YouTube channel. So like I said, I can go down this route and like keep talking about it. And you did, Dan, you did say you understand my take. And like I said, just other people are doing public case studies. You could follow them, buy their affiliate products and the things that they're promoting. And I earn money in a different way. So it's unsustainable. Basically, if I did public case studies, it would be unsustainable. The hard part is, well, you hear me talk. You hear me talk about the products that I'm an affiliate for. I'm potentially a bad affiliate because I don't sugarcoat stuff. And I'm like, I don't like that. That thing's kind of dumb. Like the way that they're doing that is not great. And, it's a valid business model. But the thing is, I hate being in someone's back pocket where you have to like say whatever they want about the product. And, I do have advertisers on this, but like it is 100% up to me what I say. Okay. Evan says, do all Amazon affiliate links have to say they're going to Amazon, or am I allowed to link with a text link that says the product name? You're allowed to link to Amazon with a link that says the product's name. You should, however, have your disclaimer at the top before the content, before any affiliate link. All right. Bradbury says, stop picking on us with the fat fingers. Sorry, Bradbury, you're right. I assume those people, and actually from the number of people that have watched, it's very high interaction. I do have to say that. And I guess we can get rid of the Georgie cam. Okay. Harris has a question for link building. I have like 10 videos on this. So I'm going to tell you, go to my channel, search for some of the link building videos. Additionally, what I really, really recommend is go to nichesiteproject.com. There's a whole section on link building and promoting your site, especially your brand new site. So go to nichesiteproject.com. If you sign up for the email list, I'll send you all my templates, and there's a whole guide on some of this stuff. So, okay. Ariel says, do you front load the content and leave it alone? Or do you keep adding content throughout the sandbox period? I keep adding, okay, I'll give you two options. I keep adding content during the sandbox period. The more you do during the sandbox period, the more potential you have once you get out. So if you have the resources, just keep publishing content during the first 6 months or a year. One of the recent podcast episodes, another reason for you to subscribe to the Doug.Show Podcast. It's coming out at the end of the month, on Thanksgiving, no less. So on Thanksgiving, there's an episode coming out where I talk about 5 websites and the growth timeline that they've seen over the course of, a couple years, basically. I talk about using age domains. There were a couple examples where people used age domains, a couple examples where people were on fresh domains, no backlinks, brand new. And basically, the more people do during the sandbox period, the more traffic they get as they come out. The other thing is, for brand new sites, it sure seems like the sandbox period is more like 9 months to a year. And I have a site, the one that I mentioned earlier. It took about a year before it was getting significant traffic. And I'm not 100% sure why. There was a little uptick at 9 months. I got a cough here. Sorry, folks. I've talked for like 3 to 4 hours today. Okay. So basically, if you have the resources, add content continuously. All right, guys caught the fever. I definitely need to stop checking Google Analytics in the Search Console. My analytics show activity, but I'm still sandbox flatlining in the Search Console. Yep. How old's your site? I'm curious on that. And you're still adding content the whole time. Hafiz says, if we do Black Hat with our website, how much time will it take Google to catch us? You want to buy PBNs for an event blog. And Gaz, of course, Gaz is like on the opposite side. He's like, I'm not even sure about, doing any kind of link building here. The answer is I don't know. So how long before you get caught? There's no telling. The interesting thing is you can still find, I haven't looked recently, but you could still find examples where sites clearly are just spamming. They're using PBNs. They're earning a lot of money in a short amount of time, and they're, able to make it work. Now, certainly it's a gamble. At best, they can earn some money, and they've sort of signed up for a situation where, they have money to dump into a project to get those, Black Hat links. And then they're counting on earning enough before getting caught. And then there's a chance that they may not earn enough before they get caught. And basically they kind of have to place their bets. And then hopefully it works out more often than not. And the thing is, I don't think you should do it either, unless you know what you're doing. But basically, I kind of have a feeling like you only need a couple of those to work out really big. I mean, this is like a classic gambling situation, right? You only need to win the lottery one time and then you're set. So like if they place the right bet and like they can earn enough and the affiliate model holds up and all that, like it's, yeah, you have to have like 1 or 2 awesome ones and then you're in good shape. Okay. And Gaz says it's only 2 months old, so it's early days. Oh, okay. Yeah. Deep in the sandbox. I was curious if you're like in the 6 month to the year period. It's always interesting to get more information from different people. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping it up here. Lots of good questions today. Maybe it's the shirt I'm wearing. Maybe people hate this shirt. It's more athletic, you know? All right. So the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, not very good. Prime Day. So Prime Day Hub memberships. Okay. So not very deep. A little bit more information. And so I'm curious what it says for the email. So finding a good strategy, da 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 da. So building up buzz. You can send this. You can send reminders and real-time updates to about lightning deals. So they do say, remember, you cannot use associate links in email communication, but you can link to pages on your site where links are. So they say, hey, send to emails, but be sure that you don't actually put a link in there. All right. Dan says, build at White Hat, and then you never have to worry. Yep. Oh, Michelle, this is awesome. Great celebration. You reached a milestone and you reached 100,000 sessions in 30 days. Congratulations, Michelle. That is awesome. Thanks for hopping in here and getting many congratulations from the other folks. But yeah, big, huge milestone. That's fantastic. And thanks for hopping on early in the morning there. You're here just in time for us to kind of start wrapping up. There were many people in the chat here for a bit. All right, so let's see, what else do we have here? Thinking outside the box. So again, this is a very short. So some of these are really just a joke and someone put together some bullet points. So it's almost like they hired like an intern for one day and they told them to write like 5 or 6 articles. So here they're just saying, hey, send people over to some of the bounties because you can actually earn, if you have a significant amount of traffic, there is a chance people will sign up for whatever, Amazon Prime Music or Prime Pantry or various other things there. So that's, a potential thing. And if you have a lot of traffic, you probably can make that work out. For a period of time, at the top of a lot of posts, I did put like, hey, join the Prime program. And I was getting bounties regularly. I don't remember what stats, it wasn't a huge amount, but it was enough where like I know that I was getting additional sales for Amazon Prime specifically. And getting started with content creation. So this one does look a little bit longer. They talk about how to write affiliate articles, expectations, how to carry out brainstorming, and how to avoid typical mistakes. So this is one of the ones that's a little bit more relevant, maybe a little bit more helpful. They do talk about the length, but some of this information could be a little bit old, or it could be written by someone who doesn't know about, some of the more sophisticated content tools out there these days. Okay. Any last questions before we wrap it up here? And Michelle also says, a long time since I started using the KGR. That's awesome. Again, great milestone. Any other questions out there? Shout out to Ezoic again for sponsoring the show, and ODYS. Don't forget, ODYS can get you, or you can get $100 in your account if you join using my affiliate link below. And I have 2 podcasts. Definitely check them out. I talk about some other things that I don't mention on here. So if you do like the audio format, which I love, like I was mentioning before, like I do enjoy like podcasting and talking and having these great conversations. And, early days when I first started blogging, and actually for years, I was doing like a great deal of the writing on the blogs, on the affiliate sites. And I was really enjoying it. I was enjoying, learning how to write the reviews, informational content, doing the research, all the details. And over time, I enjoyed it less, and I enjoyed, like I said, chatting with people more, and talking about, either the specifics or other topics altogether. So it's not that I don't like the business aspect and the process and the systems and the framework to create sites and to build them. Like I said, I have a few running now, but I definitely don't enjoy, writing out all the content, writing a 3,000 word review. Don't enjoy that very much. Finding the keyword, that's pretty fun. I like that. Maybe creating an outline, maybe even doing a little tiny bit of research so people have the right references to write the material. But in a general sense, it's like not, yeah, it's not the thing I want. I don't want to sit down here and type all day, basically. Okay. So, Gaz is saying I've always had great results from the KGR. There are a lot of people bashing it lately for some reason. Not sure why. So yeah, we're going deeper here. Again, it's just us core, folks that show up for these. So one observation is, YouTube's a weird place. I enjoy it for certain things. It's weird though, in various ways. So there are people who literally will bash it to get views on their channel. Controversy works. So it's a great headline, and there are some people who would, they would say like, don't use the KGR, it's the worst thing ever, and it'll get some views. They may actually think it's shitty and they don't think people should use it, but the driver to create a negative video is, controversial, right? So the driver to do it is to get views and to get attention. So, and then Gaz also mentioned it's, people are copying it, saying that it's their idea. So, and the thing is, it's not a completely unique idea. And I formed it via like conversations with people, learning from others. But the thing is, it's a strong branding idea. It's a good name. The interesting part is, what Gaz has pointed out. So some people are saying it doesn't work at all. It's absolutely a waste of time, and there's better ways to do it. There's another set of people that say it's their idea. So it's like some people say it's great, and then other people will shit on it. And yep, and Ariel says some people are mad that they never thought of the KGR. And the thing is, if you look back, I talked about it for a really long time. So it's not, it was a good branding idea, strong marketing name. It works most of the time for a lot of people. It's not the only tool, it's not the only way to do keyword research. Some of the biggest people, Ariel, or the people that have the biggest problems, they would say, oh, you know what? Here's a better way to do it. Use this $100 per month tool, use this other one that's $300, and you just have to put all this information together and then put it into a spreadsheet, do a V lookup, and then prioritize it based on some other thing. And next thing you know, you have a great list. That's so complicated. It's so complicated. So yeah, I know some people are like, well, that's not that complicated of an idea. It's very simple. And yeah, some people are like, oh, I should have thought of that. But it's not just thinking of it, it's talking about it for like a few years while everyone's telling you that it doesn't work. And when it comes around to it, the best part is those people are talking about me, they're thinking about it. And I think it's great. I mean, they're marketing for me. It's wonderful. Yeah, and Ariel's 100% right. There's no reason to badmouth it or to badmouth. Well, the thing is, they're badmouthing KGR and they're also like sort of looping me into it as well. But I'm not the work that I do. I'm not the ideas that I create. If people do stuff with a video that I've created that's derivative of someone else's video or maybe someone else's derivative of mine, we're not that either. So I'm just a dude that does some videos occasionally. Uh, I do podcasting more. And yeah, people can use it or not, and it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. Okay, Guy says, how long do you think an article can be before people get fed up with reading it? Is there an optimum length before people get fed up? So, a more direct answer is I would most likely, for most topics, cap out in the, say, the 3,500 to maybe 6,000 word range. It depends on the topic and it depends on how you write it. So, if it's a really engaging blog post about something mundane, but it's written in a way that's interesting, maybe there's some cool cultural references, maybe there's some GIFs in there that I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. I'm gonna look at that and watch it a couple times. If it's engaging, it can be much, much longer. And sort of an analogous example is YouTube videos. So I tend to do, these sort of longer live streams. It's hard to keep people, it's hard to keep people to watch them. And I do long form interviews. That's tough too. So, quick little example, I published an interview, like my long form interview with Christy, a monthly update. And it was like an hour long. A lot of them are about an hour. I also recorded a 13-minute quick interview that was generally not actionable, not helpful in any particular way. I just asked a few questions and it got far more views because people will watch like a 13-minute video, not a 50-minute video. I'm pretty sure, and I actually intended for her shorter interview to be about 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure if it was 10 minutes, even more people would have watched it. So soon I will probably publish more videos on my channel that are shorter because sometimes like people want a little bit shorter content. Now that said, it's a balance, guys, right? Because you're also like we're playing with the algorithm and we're trying to work within the algorithm and those constraints. And you may need to write, some minimum length of 1,800 words. And then maybe the maximum is that range I gave before. It does depend. There was a trend for a little while and I tested things out. I published a couple reviews, maybe a couple informational topics that were, I think they were like 12 and 14,000 words, like completely different niches, different topic areas. And it was too long, basically. It was a little disjointed in some ways and it didn't quite work out. So I separated the content out into more specific topics so that they could stand alone. Okay, I think I made it through all of these. So thanks everyone for hopping on. And thanks for the people that liked or even disliked the video. It is absolutely okay. If you haven't subscribed to the channel for some reason, you can subscribe. Would love it if you checked out the podcast. And bigger thing that I really am doing a bad job of reminding, I don't ask for enough stuff, I think. In the podcast area, like I have a handful of reviews. If you have a few minutes, it's great if you review on iTunes specifically, since so many people listen on that. But if you review on any one of your platforms that you listen to podcast on, that would be fantastic. Really would appreciate it. And I'll catch you next week, roughly about this time on Tuesday.